Alright, welcome to my channel, it's Lockchuck. What I'm doing today is I want to talk about the Almont Re-Key, and specifically how to gut it using the pinning shoe and I have two different front loaders that I've designed. This was my original design, and then Loose Shirt tried it, had a lot of trouble with it, and he came up with an idea for for different front loader, and he kind of conveyed his information, and this is what I come up with. And the funny part is there's a commercially available one that looks really close to this, and I didn't know that until after we designed it and he had tested it. He's like, hey, this looks familiar to this one, and I was like, oh. So it's kind of funny how that worked out, but this is just between Luce's conversation with me, and this is what I came up with as a different letter. And I'll show you how these work in a second. I think I've already showed this one time, but I'll kind of discuss the principle. So if you go, I'm going to try to put a link down below to the Thingiverse page that has the STL files for all of this. So this is like a pinning shoe. Then these are the front loaders. You'll notice this one's kind of closed in. It's a little different design. And this is like a traditional front loader where you have the one slot. It doesn't rotate like a traditional Euro style front loader because the pins in the side that prevent you that. So you have to load it one pin at a time, and you're loading way down in there, and you have to do it more by feel. So that's where this one really comes in a lot easier, and we'll show that. But first things first, so this is the pinning shoe, and the other material that you will need, I didn't get them all out, but you'll need I used a 3mm nut, or designed it so it takes a 3mm nut right there on the back. Let's see, focus. So turn my light on. Why do I always forget my light? That's the ritual. Turn your light on. But anyway, right there's a little 3mm nut. You can see it kind of through. This is a clear print, so you can see it there. And the grub screw comes in back there, and it goes into the nut. And what this is for is you'll need a piece of music wire. I thought I had it. The music wire that I used was, let's see if I can get it on here. It was there's the model number. Let's see. There it is. It is 0.039 inches music wire. I believe that's inches. But that's the number on it. So I think I got these off of Amazon. Pretty cheap. But I took it and bent it into an L shape. So here's the L shape. If you look just closely, it's a little bit smaller, or more than a 90. I bent it a little bit further than 90, and I'll explain that a little bit longer later. So the dimensions that you'll need on this, let's see, I'll do both. So that's 1.72 inches, or about 33.5 to 34 millimeters. Doesn't have to be really exact. And then the other dimension is about 29 millimeters, or 1.15 or 14 inches. So that's all you need. You bend that into a pretty sharp angle, and then it goes, you just put it in here, and you'll tighten your grub screw up on it. But I will say, I'll recommend adjusting this in the lock, because you just want it above. Let me see, I'll snug it up. So as you can see, that pin sticking out the bottom, maybe right there. I'll pull that back in. That measurement kind of helps me there. So I just want that sticking in from the bottom, and I'm gonna tighten it up. And as you can see how much it's sticking out right now. And now if you look at it, you see how it's kind of pointed downward. That helps get it into the back of the lock when you're pinning this up. So I'm not going to pick this, but I do have a gutting key. So here's the regular key, and I made a gutting key. You see that part of the bottom part of the key has been cut away, so I can turn it, and then you have to be able to pull across. There's a pin that this will be on top of that this has to clear, so you do have to cut the tip off. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you. I'm going to put the gutting key in, turn it, and I'm going to turn this straight up. So now that that's straight up, the shackle is open. Alright, now I'm going to take the pinning shoe, I'm going to stick it in there. That hole I kind of have to lift it up, get in there, and then push it down. So when you push this in, you may have to wiggle the key, but right now it's down too tight. I can feel it, it's down too tight, so I'm going to just loosen it just for a second. Give me a little bit more, and there, I don't know if you saw that, but it moved up just a little bit. So now I'm going to tighten this back up, so hopefully I got it in the right spot. We'll be able to tell when I pull the core out. So that's in there. It's all the way in. So what I do is I kind of just keep my finger on the back, and now I should be able to pull out. And when you do, the shackle is going to try to pop off, okay? So let me see if I can focus a little bit better down here where I need it. Come on. Alright, so down here. So when you start pulling out, it releases the ball bearings and the shackle will come out. So just be careful, be mindful which way your pins are, and you can pull the core out. So I'm just going to put this in a holder. You can pin this, repin this just like you would any other core. So now, there's the ball bearing from the shackle. I'm just going to roll it out. The other ball bearing right here is being held in by this pin, which goes into that hole. There's a hole back there that this music wire goes into, and it holds all the pins down. So you don't want to cut it too short. I like having a gap there just so I know, you know, there's a little bit of a gap in the shoe, so that way I can kind of keep it. I can hold the lock right here against the wire. I'm holding it against the wire and not the shoe itself, so I'm making sure I keep that in the hole. So with the front loader, what you do, the way this is designed, is you'll see the slot just like it is on the keyway. So that slot lines up with the wire. Alright, so that slides right in, should go all the way flush. Once that's in, you just have to pull out the pinning shoe. Okay, and we're going to turn this. Right now it would only turn one direction. I put a notch it so it only turn the direction. You're going to turn it counterclockwise. All the pins just shut up into the holder. So what I like to do is I just give it a little tap so all the pins drop into it, because the pins and the springs are on this side right now. And just take a probe or a broken pick, or you can even use I made it wide enough so you can even use a tension wrench. And I'm going to apply just a little bit of tension. I'm not trying to really turn it, because what we got to do is we got to push those springs back into the Bible. So I'm just going to tell you what, I'm going to lean it down just a little bit so the springs, everything wants to fall down. I'm just going to push it up and just kind of tap it. Of course, now that I'm on camera, not wanting to. Doesn't take much. Alright, it just rotated. It doesn't rotate much, it just rotates and it stops. As you can see down there, that slot is lined right back up. I'm going to take the pinning shoe, put it back in. All this is doing now is holding the springs in so they don't fall out. Now I'll just simply lift straight up, and right there, come on, focus. There's all the drivers. There's 5 drivers right there. You can then take them out, dump them out, replace them, whatever you need to do. So when you get ready to put the drivers back in, I left the springs in there. You know, there's not really a tool to put the springs in, but you can put all the springs in. But the easiest way to do it is you just load this up from the front. Just remember, front to back. This one only has 5. It's cut for 6, but there's only 5. So I'm going to put the 5 pins in. And again, same way, we'll turn this straight up. We'll match up this line, put it in, pull my shoe out. Now this time it's the reverse process. So this time I'm going to turn it counterclockwise. I'm going to take whatever tool I'm using, make sure you're all the way down. And it may just take a little bit of wiggling, but once I get it all the way down, again, I'm going to turn it back. That keeps the pins trapped. So what I suggest right here is just make sure you got them all in. Push this in, and it should move the full width of that slit that's cut into it. If it doesn't move that full width, that means there's a pin still in here that hadn't been loaded. So it's loaded. Just keep it that way. And now when I put the pinning shoe back in, and now I can pull this out, and all my pins are now loaded into the chamber. Let me see if I can focus again. So hopefully, let me see if I can get a flashlight. And hopefully you can see all the pins are now loaded in. And back there's that hole that the pin goes into. So now I've got the auto driver pins already back in. Pretty quick, pretty simple. And I can take the core and load the core back in. The only difference with this one, which now I don't know why you'd want to use this one, because this one is a heck of a lot easier, is you can use it. I'm still going to leave it available, but this is only for right now for the Schlage C keyway. The one I have another one that's a Yale style keyway. The spacing is different, so I will make another one for the Yale style. Okay. Alright, so let's see. I dropped my ball bearing out. Alright, now I'm getting ready to reassemble. This is just my take on reassembling it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the ball bearing in, and just kind of, if it'll stay, I'm going to just push it up. It doesn't want to stay, so I'm just leave it for a second. I've got this, say, pinned back up for my gutting key. I'll show this real quick. This is where you have to cut the tip off. If you look right here, that's where that pin that retains the plug is at. So it gets right here, and then it travels the bottom of the keyway to allow you to pull it out. If you don't cut that tip off, it'll hang on the key and it won't allow you to pull it out. It'll go to the repinning position, but it won't allow you to pull the plug out. So that's why you have to cut the entire tip off. Alright, so I got the ball bearing in there. What I like to do is I'm going to turn it upside down so the ball bearing is dropping into the slot. Line up my slot, just make sure I don't dump my pins out. All pins are there. Get back in there. And I'm going to push it in. So luckily it went right in, no problems. But what may happen if that ball bearing drops down in, like right there, it won't allow you to push in the plug. So just tilt it, let it push that ball bearing in, and now you can probably see, hopefully I didn't go off camera with that, but hopefully you can see that ball bearing is right there now. So what am I going to do now is I need to get the shackle in. So I still haven't taken the pinning shoe off. I'm going to leave it on for just a second. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to gently pull out on the plug just enough, and I may have to just enough to allow that ball bearing not to drop out, but to go low enough that the shackle will slide in, and once it does, you can push the core back in, and it's locked back in. Now I can hold my finger on the core, plug out the pinning shoe, and lock the lock back, and rotate the key. So that's how you can gut an Almont Re-Key. So now if I take the regular key, put it in, works great. There. Just be mindful, you know, the shackle spring on this one stayed in. Sometimes the other ones will shoot out shackle spring and everything. So just make sure you get everything back in. Get your ball bearings back in. Just kind of however you need to do it. But that's how I use these, mainly these two tools here, to gut and reload an Almont Re-Key. Alright, if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching.